Shalom, shalom to everyone this morning. Boker Tov. This is Rabbi Moshe Otero, and welcome to the Ways of Israel as we continue our study and learning through the Sefer Ikkarim, the Book of Principles by Rabbi Joseph Albo. And of course, we are doing this in memory of a good friend of mine, George Albo, or Yehuda Natan. Very loved and very appreciated. He passed away about a year ago, and so begin this series in memory of his passing, and may his soul receive a lot of merit as a result. So we are going to continue in this Sefer. We're right now on chapter 17, and we're looking at the word Makom, or Rabbi Albo is going to begin to develop the idea of Makom as it's applied to a thing. So let's take a look at it. He says, and Rabbi Albo starts by saying place as the interpretation of Makom. The Hebrew Makom is a term applied to the thing which surrounds bodies and bounds them. It's an incorporeal thing, cannot be said to be in place because the name place applies only to a thing which is filled by another body having dimensions, which enters place and is surrounded by it, and hence cannot be said of God or of the separate intellect that they are in place, for they are not bodies having dimensions which place can surround. The Bible says in reference to this, behold, the heavens and the heaven of heavens cannot contain thee, meaning that God cannot need place to stand in. Such expressions as, and I will dwell among the children of Israel, then it shall come to pass the place which the Lord your God shall choose to cause his name to dwell there, does not mean or do not mean that God needs a place to dwell in. The explanation is this, says Rabbi Albo: the revelation of God's glory takes place by means of a body that is visible to the senses like fire or a pillar of cloud. And thus we read, and the appearance of the glory of the Lord was like devouring fire on the top of the mount. And behold, the glory of the Lord appeared in the cloud. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in flame of fire out of the midst of the bush. The sudden appearance of pillar of cloud, or the glory of the Lord, which could not be seen with the senses, was there. This is why the Bible assigns a particular place to the presence of the divine glory, and not that the glory has a need of a place or a body to stay in. And inasmuch as the place holds a thing in permanency, God is called dwelling place, or in Hebrew, Ma'on. So Moses says that thou hast been our dwelling place, in other words, our Ma'on, meaning that God contains the world and holds it in permanency as a place holds an object. For this is the reason rabbis call him Makom, or place, as in blessed be Makom, the place God who gave the Torah to Israel. Also wave his hands to the place of Makom, that he removed the leper. And this is the place, or God. He removed the leper. The substance of a thing is also called place. As the rabbis say, from its own place the matter is proved. Also, blessed be the glory of the Lord from his Makom, his place. The last expression means that the glory of the Lord, which appeared to the prophets, emanated from God's own essence without a mediator, and not that the glory has a place. This is very important because, again, he's rebuffing the Christian argument here for you to understand that basically they seek after a place in order to say, you see, in the temple and the tabernacle, we have all of these aspects where God dwells in a place. And thus they try to utilize that as an argument to say, you see, this is why we believe that JC is the incarnation of God. And this Albo rebuffs very, very specifically There is a question, however, worth noting, whether it is possible to attribute to God location. For though God is not in place, a specific location may be applied to him, like above, as we read in the Bible. For God is in heaven, and thou upon earth. And all authorities agree that heaven is the dwelling place of spiritual beings, though they have no need of place. And it would appear, therefore, from this, that even though he is not corporeal, it is possible to attribute to him location without this necessitating corporeality in him. The same is true of the soul. Though it is incorporeal, nevertheless, she has a certain location. For since she is not outside of the body, she is identified with a certain locality, and though she is not in place. Similarly, we say that the soul of the wicked is judged in Gehenna, which can be translated as hell. It can also be translated as a place in between. Here again, though she is not body so as to be in a place, nevertheless bounds her, and she is to receive their punishment in the same way as she was in the body when she sinned. And by the way, the Gehenna also is also many times interpreted as purgatory. It's a place of purification. And she was in the body when she sinned, and though she is not corporal. In this way, it is possible to say that God, though he is not in place, he is in a certain locality, above or below or the same locality. On the other hand, one may argue against it and say that the locality necessarily implies a place, for locality is either above or below, or these are without doubt place. To this, however, it may be said that the above in the absolute sense is not a place, for the utmost sphere is above absolutely, and it is clear that it is not in place, since there is no other body outside of it that can surround it, and therefore we may attribute to him location above, since it is not place. But this is based upon the opinion of Aristotle, that place is the limit which bounds a body on the outside, and hence we say that the world as a whole is not in place because there's nothing outside of it to surround it. But this opinion is clearly unsound, for according to him it would follow that the part has a different place from the whole. For the parts of fire have no other external surrounding limits except other parts of the fire or air, whereas the natural place of element of fire is a concavity of the lunar sphere, which is different from the place of the parts of the fire. And the same thing applies to the other elements. Moreover, it would follow according to him that the elements remain in the place by force. For natural place of element fire is concave surface of the lunar sphere, which is the above. Hence, all the parts of fire outside of those that are adjacent to the inner surface of the sphere remains where they are by force. Similarly, in the case of the other elements, again, if the place of element earth is the surface of the element water, which is bound it on the outside, the place of the earth would not be below in the absolute sense, as it maintains, and below in the absolute sense is the center. And furthermore, it follows that according to him that the place of the part is greater than the place of the whole. For if you remove the part of the inside of the sphere, it will require a greater surface bound it outside and inside than when it was solid. Besides, it would follow according to him that one and the same body will have many places differing in magnitude. For if you divide a body into parts, each of the latter will require a greater place than that before the division. The same is true if you divide the parts into parts, other parts, and those again into parts. But this is contrary to the statement of Euclid in his book concerning the heavy and the light, where he says that the equal bodies occupied equal places. But according to Aristotelian hypothesis, this is not true. For of two equal bodies, the one that is divided will require a greater place than the other. All of these difficulties follow from the opinion that place is an external bounding surface. But if place is defined as being the vacuum into which the body enters, none of the difficulties results. Aristotle objects to the definition on the ground that if they are such a thing as self-existent distance, and these distances are place, two absurdities will follow. One is that one and the same thing will have an infinite number of places all at once, and that is the other places would be subject to motion, and the place which is at the basis of water would in turn require a place. This is absurd result, however, follows if the distance are subject to motion. But if we say that they are not subject to motion, and that it is the body and its parts that move from distance to other distance, no absurdity will follow at all. For the basin and the water have each special distance which they fill and which are not changed when they move. According to this opinion, the utmost sphere in the world as a whole are in place, and therefore it's impossible to attribute to God locality any more than place. So, and as to the fact that the Bible does not attribute to God location above in the expression, O thou that art enthroned in the heavens, or he that sitteth in heaven laugheth, and the others, it may be that because of the divine power appears more clearly in the motions of spheres by reasons of intensity and